Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is Rusty and Heather Bryant. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're so glad that we are back with you. It's been a few weeks since we've sat in these seats because we've come to you every Monday, but they weren't all, we actually did them a long time ago. Not really a long time ago. We batched a couple of episodes because we were going to have family in town, but then last week we weren't even aware we were going to do this, but we had Heather's mentor that had done a program with us, and so we just recorded that and made sure that everybody had the chance to listen to it. So if you didn't get a chance, please go back and listen to last week's episode.
Are you behind on your podcast?
I don't get behind on podcasts. No, I may be behind on podcasts. You're probably behind on your podcast.
Yeah, real behind.
So no, I'm behind on some of them, but not a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm not behind on any of the ones that have anything to do with the Ole Miss Rebels at this current time of my life, because we are playing in the national semifinals this week, and so in case you didn't know that, I might be an Ole Miss Rebel fan. So everybody cheer along.
I love that you said might. I may or may not be.
Everybody cheer along with us. We are America's team right now.
If your team is not in the CBF playoffs, I said CBF. Is that CBF? Is that right? Yeah, college
CFB.
B. What is CBF?
CB. What? We are derailing fast.
College football playoffs, CFP. If your team is not in that, then you need to be cheering for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Well, there's not many people whose teams are in there because there's not many teams
There's
left.
Just 4.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to.
But we have listeners in those states.
But this is where I'm going with that. There's not many teams left. There's only 4 teams left. So there's not like a lot of you out there. Most of you are just watching my team play.
Yeah. And
so, welcome.
If you don't know anything about the football, and you maybe cheer for, like my friend who cheers for the horseshoes, and our friend that watches it to see the cute little girls run out and spray water in people's mouths. If you're one of those people, get serious and let's cheer for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Cheer for the Rebels this week.
Yeah.
All right. So this is not a Rebel podcast today. This is going to be a marriage podcast. It's going to be a podcast where we get a chance for the first time to reveal sort of our New Year's goals to each other because we have not talked about them. We haven't talked through what our plans are for the new year or anything like that. So we're going to reveal those to you today, each one of us. And we're going to talk just a little bit about goals and the importance of that and, you know, what you can be doing to set yourself up for a really good 2026 for you personally and also for your marriage. So I don't know, maybe we just talk for just a minute about goals. I like to use the word goals. I think resolutions are sort of overused sometimes, and they're also very trendy, and like most of the time people break those resolutions in the first, but everybody needs goals. And so I don't know, maybe you can give a little insight on your kind of journey through like how you have felt about New Year's goals over the years, because I feel like you've changed in maybe I shouldn't put words in your mouth, so go. How do you feel about New Year's goals, Heather?
Well, let me tell you, I did the whole resolution thing for years and years and years and years and years, and it always revolved around my physical appearance. I need to lose this much weight, or I need to read the Bible through in this amount of time. It just was real surfacey, and I felt really, really defeated when I didn't complete them, or if I would have something that wasn't on my plan on January 4th, and then I was just done. Or I missed a day at the gym because I wasn't feeling well, and then I was just done. And my mentor, Penny, actually changed the way I think about this. And she's like, you need goals. Like, you need to start off the year with what you're going to study, what you're going to memorize. Like, I mean, that is ingrained in me from meeting with her. And every January, our first meeting together, that's what we would talk about, is our goals. And then we would do kind of a halfway through the year, how are you doing? Does anything need to change? You know, kind of revisit it. And I've done that for years and years and years. But just a couple of weeks ago when our pastor, Chip Henderson, was preaching, and he literally stood up there and told his goals for 2025, read them, and then told whether he accomplished them or not. It was so refreshing to hear a pastor of a church say, "Oh, I was going to do this, that I probably did 2/3 of that," because it's not like this is what we have to do and this is the law and this. It's like, I am shooting for this. And if I fall short, it's okay because I'm doing better than I would have been if I didn't have goals. So it's kind of been this process for me on kind of, I don't know, like figuring out what it looks like. I have a lot of trouble with the legalistic type. The thoughts, legalistic thoughts of I've got to check mark this off. Like even when I was drawing on my iPad or writing on my iPad, I was putting little circles beside each goal that I could literally put a check mark in when I was done. And I was like, no, stop that. It doesn't have to be, that legalistic. So yeah, I have some great goals. We have not talked about them. You know that I've done them because I told you I was working on them, but neither one of us know what our goals are.
What do you like do categories each year, or what do you,
Yeah.
or you just go, hey, here's 3 goals for,
Yeah. No, you actually changed the way I did that several years ago when you talked about how we don't know much about God. I mean, Jesus, between the time that he was 2, right? 12 until he was 32.
12 to 29-ish, 28.
He died when he was 32. Okay.
Yep.
So in those years, see this, we should talk about this stuff before we
Probably.
start. But you were saying how what we know about that is the verse that said that time frame is that Jesus grew in love,
Wisdom, stature, and favor with God and man.
And love.
Might help you out. Love. You just made that up.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's right.
That's the HSV.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, when you kind of put them in those categories for me, and I've just kind of always liked that. And then, so I've been using that. And then Chip kind of talked about how he does spiritual, physical, relational, intellectual. It's that same type thing of growing in wisdom and all that.
Yep. I've kind of through the years had this love-hate relationship with goals or New Year's resolutions. And I used to try them and I wouldn't really write them down. And I think it's because I don't like to fail, and I knew that I would fail on most of them. And then I think it was Dave Ramsey years ago where he had like 7 different categories, and it was like financial goals and spiritual goals and physical goals and intellectual goals. There was like 7 of them. And I remember that year I wrote down all 7 of those categories, and then I had like 2 or 3 goals or resolutions in each one of those categories. And I just remember getting to the end of the year and being so overwhelmed. And I was like, I don't even know how to keep up with all this. And so I sort of took this hiatus from goals, and I was like, forget that. I can't, people don't reach their goals. I'm just not going to do them. And so for a few years I did that. And then the verse hit me several years ago, and I think we've done podcasts over the years on that. But Luke 2:52, where it says Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, favor with God, favor with man. And I just decided that, hey, if that's all we know about Jesus for 25 years, then, 15 years. 15.
Look, who can't math
my
now?
math was not working. For 15 years, from the time he got left at the temple as a 12-year-old boy until he started his earthly ministry, the only thing that we know about him is that he grew. And so I just got to a place where I said, well, if that's what was good for Jesus, was growing in these areas during that time, then that's what I need to do. And so I really scaled back a lot of my goals, and I really started thinking more of more of goals and plan. Like, I need a plan because everybody needs a plan. I mean, we need a plan for everything. When we do marriage coaching with people, there needs to be a plan. There's steps that you take. Whenever we just talk through growing in your marriage, there needs to be a plan. We tell people all the time, you have to be intentional.
Right.
And it's the same thing with growth. We have to be intentional. And so, what I loved a couple of weeks ago, when Chip was talking, you already mentioned this, but he read off a bunch of his goals from last year, and there were a lot of them. He named a lot of goals. And I bet 3 out of 10. 4 out of 10, maybe, he said. But the other ones, he said, I didn't meet those goals, but I did better.
Right.
And so I really started thinking about that for this year. And to me, that was very refreshing to just know and validating for me, because I feel that way now. It's not, I don't like the whole, I got to check a box, because then I'm doing something just because I said I wanted to do it.
Right.
And so really for me, my whole goal for this year is I just want to be better. I just want to be better than I was last year. And so do I have some goals and some plans to get to that place? Yes. All right. So you go first. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably can't see Heather from around the books that she's going to read. I mean, she has a lofty goal.
Can I just say that I did some research on some books that I wanted to read and that people have suggested, and I just went ahead and bought them all. But here's the thing. It doesn't mean that I am going to read all of these this year. I counted, and it'd be about one a month, or, and that's a lot, especially because I love to read fiction too, so it's not like all I'm reading. And so if I don't finish these, they will just carry into next year. And when you were talking about how
we'll save a lot of money on buying books next year.
That's right. But you know how you said when we're marriage coaching, we have a plan, but depending on what's going on in that couple's life, sometimes we have to change the plan and come back to something later. And so I'm not saying I'm reading these in this order and I won't add anything, but it, like you said, it's a plan. And that way I have something instead of just, flying by the seat of my pants. So I did mine into 4 sections: spiritual goals, physical goals, intellectual goals, and relational goals. Okay. So do you want me to start with the intellectual since my books are sitting here?
You sure can.
Okay.
And just read them all.
Okay.
Because there's some people out there that they're like, I ain't reading nothing.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm going to start with spiritual goals then, because that's the first thing on my list. I want to finish the Bible all the way through. So I started it in the summer. I'm doing the Bible recap, started in the summer. And let me tell you the reason why I finally said I'm doing this all the way through, no matter how long it takes. On the Bible recap app, well, it's in the Bible app, but in her little plan, there are 4 videos that tell why it's important and how to study the Bible. One thing she said that I'd never thought about or heard, and I was like, you know what? That changes everything. She said that if we put our eyes, or our ears, if you listen, on every single word in Scripture, then we are allowing the Holy Spirit permission to pull from those Scriptures at any time. But we have to see them. We have to see them. We have to read them. We have to hear them in order for us to be able to pull from it. So I was like, I don't even care if it's genealogy. I'm reading every word of Scripture. So I have 238 days left. So I've done, do the math, how many that is, 365 minus that. That's how many I've done since summer. Some days there's like 6 passages to read. I maybe only have time to read 4. I pick up the next day right there. So I'm not doing it so, oh my gosh, I'm 2 days behind. It takes me as long as it takes me. But I think I can do 240 days in 365 this year. So I'm going to try to finish it. The second one is I've memorized several passages of Scripture. I've memorized Psalm 23, Psalm 139, Psalm 63. There's one more. But I'm in the middle of James 1, and my goal is to finish that, but then also refresh on the other ones, because I feel like through the years I've lost the, I'll be like, what was it? So I want to refresh those and then finish James 1.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then I, for years and years and years, did New Morning Mercies by Paul David Tripp. If you're looking for a daily devotional, this is not that made me feel good for the day. This is let's dig in and call you on your crap book. And it's not long. I mean, it's just one page every day, but it is fabulous. So if you're looking for, I'm pulling this back out this year. It's been 2 years since I've done it. I did it for like 8 years straight, and I took a break, and now I'm coming back to that. And then just being devoted to prayer in all things. So those are my spiritual goals. You want me to keep going?
Yep.
Okay. My physical goals, y'all don't care about all of that, but I will say that I have my plan revolves around becoming healthy and not a number. And so that's kind of my goal this year is, just being more healthy. I have, that I want to do weights 3 times a week, walk or run 3 times a week, and I want to be able to run 3 miles by the end of 2026. Do you
All
think
right.
I can do it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You could probably do it by the end of the month.
That's not true. All right. Then I have intellectual goals, and this is where you're making fun of my books stack. Okay. I did some research, found some good ones. Now I may start some of these and be like, that's not for me. But right now, this is my list. Practicing the Way. Do I need to tell the author? John
Okay.
Mark Comer. All Things New, John Eldridge. Women of the Word by Jen Wilkin. Upon Waking, Jackie Hill Perry. Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire, Jim Cymbala. Life by Lisa Harper. Moving Mountains by John Eldridge. And The Emotionally Healthy Woman by, I cannot say their name. Jerry says something.
Scazzaro?
I don't know.
Okay.
Scazzaro. Okay. So those are the ones that I have. I'm not reading them particularly in that order. Whatever I decide to read first, I'll read first. But that's my list of books that I found that interested me, that I just need something to do next instead of, I'll read something. I just need a next. Okay. And then my last ones are relational goals. Relational goals are hard for me because so many of what I consider dear friends are people we do coaching with, like keeping up with them. Like I love to just hear from them and keeping up with them. But I have a bestie that I do life with. And then I have some really good friends around here that I'm just like, I need to be purposeful with those. And then also, we're fixing to gain a daughter-in-law this year. So the relationship there, I'm super excited about. And then of course, my marriage with you, like keeping that priority, and keeping that as number one. So just relationship goals, they're just being purposeful in the different relationships that I wrote down.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. That was a lot.
Sorry.
No, I mean, that's a lot of goals, and that's good. And there's people, I think, that listen that they need that and they need to write it down. And there's also people, I think, out there that you need big changes in your life. Mm-hmm. You can, most of the stuff that Heather talked about, it didn't really directly have to do with our marriage, but so much of this is about, we teach this all the time. You have to, you can't fix your spouse. Nope. And so you take care of yourself, you work on the things that you need to work on, and then that begins to improve your marriage. Yep. And so,
because if I'm doing all of these goals that I'm talking about, spiritually, physically, emotionally, intellectually, relationally, if I'm becoming and looking more like Jesus, then I'm going to be a better wife. Mm-hmm. You have to be. Yep. Like, there's no way to not be a better wife.
Yep.
If I'm doing all these things.
So for me, I have taken a little bit of an approach that's not as rigid as I've done in the past. And I think that a big part of that is because of that sermon that I heard a couple of weeks ago. And it's more of I just want to be better. Like I can take a look at my life and I can go, are there big things that I need to change? And I always need to grow, but I couldn't pinpoint just, oh, I've got to fix that, and I've got to change that, and I've got to make this. And so really it has become this thing where I've just been really praying through. I just want to be a person, and not, this is not in a not so I can brag or boast, but I want people to look at me and think and say, he's one of the godliest people that I know. And I want you to look at me and say, he is the best husband because he's a man after God's own heart. I want my 2 boys to look at me and say, I want to be like him when I grow up. I want to be a godly influence like that. And then I want friends and the people that are involved in my life on a daily basis or or whatever, that they also look at me and say, that's the kind of guy that I know I can go to and count on him to pray for me, and somebody that I can go to for advice and for godly wisdom and things like that. And so mine has really just become this, okay, I want to take Luke 2:52, and in all those areas, I just want to be better than I was last year. So when you look at Luke 2:52, he grew in wisdom. Wisdom for me is mostly just learning. Like, I want to be on a journey of life where I'm always learning. Like, I hope even when I become 80 years old, that I just don't think, well, I've got it, I've arrived. I want to always be learning. And so I think a lot of that is reading books, listening to podcasts, and which I'm constantly doing. Last year, I think I read 22 books. And so, like, for this year, I'm just thinking, I just want to do better. Like, instead of wasting time scrolling on social media as much, gotta wait till Ole Miss finishes their season, though.
Are you talking about 22 like self-help books?
No.
Just
Those
22
were just 22 books.
Okay,
because
gotcha.
I also think that, like, we both enjoy laying in bed at night and reading fiction books to fall asleep. And those, I typically, it takes me about a month to read a book like that. And I don't discount that. Like, I think that that's still keeping my mind sharp. And
I was just curious.
Yeah. So, and I enjoy that, but I always have a second book going on that's a self-help. So, like, I've already started this, and I'm not quite halfway through, but I started on January 1st, and it's Stand Firm and Act Like Men by Joe B. Martin. So if anybody wants to know what I'm currently reading, that's what I'm currently reading. Stand Firm and Act Like Men by Joe B. Martin. And so my goal is just that after I finish, usually when I'm doing my devotion in the morning, when I'm spending time with God, I'm reading scripture, and then I'm reading whatever. And I don't even want to say self-help because it's spiritual. Like,
Sure.
I'm not self-help like reading how to do a podcast better.
Right.
That's more of a spiritual thing. So anyway, those are my intellectual goals. And really, when I get to the end of the year, I hope that my books, as far as growing spiritually or even growing intellectually in some way, learning something, I hope that they outweigh the fiction books. And then Jesus grew in stature, and that's our physical health. And, for me, again, I am really disciplined when it comes to this. And so I have to look at it and go, I don't need to make these big changes in my life, but I want to be better. I just want to do better than I did last year. And so some of that, I run a lot. So I'd love to run more miles than I did last year. I also... yeah, that's funny. I really messed up this year because I got to January 1st and I was like, I wonder how many miles I ran last year. And I looked and it was 499.9. Like that, you can't make that stuff up. But it's okay. I'm not legalistic anymore. And so I don't really care.
I was like, go in and edit one of them.
So next year, if I run 500, I'll be, but I would love to be running even more than that. Like for me, that's great. It's great that I ran 500 miles, but I'd love to run more like 750 or 800 miles.
Whoa.
And
it's a big jump.
Yeah, it is. But that's one of the things. The other is like, I want to eat better too. I feel like that part of my health journey, I've just always kind of been able to eat whatever I want, but I don't think about how it affects my body. And so, I don't want to put empty calories in that don't really help. It's that kind of stuff. So I just want to be better. And then the in favor with God, that's, I believe, obviously my relationship with God. And just to kind of jump on what you were saying about your journey through reading scripture, I've had to, over the last couple of years, really make that a big part of the discipline, a big discipline in my life, because I've never been a good just sit down and read the Bible. And I've really incorporated that really for the last 2 years. And I've done it in a very non-legalistic way, where I'm just going to read, and I'm reading the Bible through with no time frame or anything. Just I am reading it through. So right now, I actually started on January 1st. I was in Psalm. So however far I've come since then, Genesis, and I'm up to Psalm. And so I'm just going to continue that. And I actually would love to finish it by the end of the year. If I do, great. If I don't, that's okay too. I'll just keep on going. And then favor with man is the relational goals. And one of the things that I feel like we're always working on our marriage, because we're always teaching and it's challenging us, and we're writing curriculum and we're writing our book, and all that stuff is helping us with our relationship. And I do feel like we practice what we preach. It isn't, we do have to work at it sometimes, that we don't slip on some of those things. But really, I've had more of a problem with relationally, like other men, and just allowing other men to be a part of my life, and a lot of story behind that. But just a lot from our story that led me to not trust people and not want to get close to people. And so I've recently started meeting with a group of guys, a very small group. We meet once a week, and I really want to invest more in that. And it's not like these are like best friends or but they're people that we need to challenge and grow, and I want to grow closer to them. Is one of the things that I have a goal for. And then also just this idea that Penny kept pushing about mentoring and having people that we're doing life with and discipling. And I just really want to be available to invest in people in that way, invest in other men that way. I'm 51 years old. I still feel like I'm very, very young, but I'm also older than lots of people. And so these younger people behind me, that's kind of that goal, is I want them to look at me and go, man, he raised 2 amazing boys that are doing great things in life. He has a great marriage, in spite of what's happened. And like, those are the kind of things that I want the younger generation to go, hey, let me jump in and do life with you, so that I can show the mistakes that I've made, but also that I can point them and say, hey, we're on this journey together, but I got a lot of life behind me. I mean, I really do. And like, we've been through a lot of stuff that I think can really help people. So we have goals for our marriage ministry as well. And, we don't have to get into all that today. It's just that, man, there's a lot coming up this year that I'm really excited about. First of all, if you guys have never taken part in our prayer challenge for February, I would encourage you to do that this year. And I've already sent all of our stuff over to our web designer, so really that should probably be up this week at some point. But just go to theredeemedmarriage.com and look for that banner at the top to sign up for a specific time for us to pray for you during February. We had over 200. It was close to 300 names. I don't really remember what we landed on last year, but it was a lot. And here's the thing that I want everybody to go ahead and jump in and do a prayer request for this year, because we want to pray for you, but also we've got a couple of ideas that we're kind of tossing around. We just started talking about this yesterday. I've put a little more thought into it than Heather, but a couple of really neat things that we're going to do that go along with our February prayer challenge. And so we really want everybody to be a part of that. So just be on the lookout for that over the next few weeks as we start to promote that. We'll be sending out a lot of emails to our email list, just as reminders, and then also ways that you can be involved. So make sure you're on that list. Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Got a couple of speaking engagements coming up in February, so keep an eye on that. We're actually going to be at a local event at Broadmoor Baptist Church in Madison, and then we'll also be doing a Valentine's event at Gardendale First Baptist over near Birmingham. So that's going to be a really fun event. So we have very limited space, but there's still a couple of spots for our March retreats in Atlanta. So if you're interested in that, and then of course we always have people asking about our intensives, but you need to reach out to us so we can look and see what dates that we have available and see if we can line those up so we can spend some time with you. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Be better.
Be better. I'll try to be better.
We have the reason why it makes me laugh so much is because the boys' high school soccer coach, he may or may not be listening, I don't know, but he used to yell from the sideline all the time, "It's got to be better.
It's got to be better.
And so every time you would say, "I just want to be better," I could hear him yelling.
Well, maybe that's where I got it from. Thanks, Coach.
Gotta be better.
Got to be better. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.